can only imagine what it will be like when I walk by your side. I can only imagine what my eyes will see when your face is before me. I can only imagine.
Greetings. My name is Mario Sims. I'm the senior pastor of Doulos Chapel. Doulos Chapel is located at 608 South St. Joseph Street, South Bend, Indiana. We are a non-denominational church. We have Bible study from 6 to 7 and Sunday services beginning at 9 and going to 11:30. We end the service Sunday 11:30, if I can use the word religiously. So I don't like to preach people till they fall asleep. Normally I do a Bible study, but consistent with the teachings of Christ, we are to have concern for God's creation. And we've been troubled recently by a lot of stories and a lot of personal interest stories here locally involving violence. Violence, particularly among African American males, has reached epidemic levels. And so, instead of trying to, I'm 64 years old, instead of trying to give my viewpoint, I like to get the viewpoint from those who are living this experience right now. So I've got Jordan Geiger, who attended DePaul University, and then worked towards his master's degree in University of Missouri, correct?
Yes. Yep.
And I've got my son, Terry, who just completed his freshman year at Manchester University. Yep. Now, I got to start by saying this, because some people are going to say, you're just concerned about black violence. No, actually, if you follow this show, then you know consistent with the Bible, we've covered all aspects of violence and didn't just zero in on black violence. But it's important for us to be speakers of truth, to be concerned about the epidemic that's confronting these young black men right now. So let me start by asking this: what gang do you guys belong to? Well, all young black men belong to gangs, right? You guys know gang?
No.
Okay. No. How many guns do you have?
None.
Okay.
No.
See, that's what people think.
Yeah.
That's what people think. They see young black men, and you guys did you guys just got out of jail or prison or anything?
No.
You just finished up your freshman year, and you worked towards your master's, and now you're working in the community.
Right.
Okay. We have to deal with a lot of misperceptions about young black men, that young black men are mainly involved in gangs and just got out of jail yesterday, or you guys spent your money on Uzis and Tech Nines and that kind of stuff. I'm not trying to be insulting, but that's just a reality that we confront. I'm shocked. I look at I checked some of the numbers before we went on today, and 75% of murdered black people are murdered by black people.
Yeah, it's fair.
And okay. So, but then you have other aspects that you have to deal with. Now that's just black on black violence, but there's so many other aspects. We know there's been a lot of news stories about African American men encountered with law enfortement. So that's certainly something that has to be looked at, and certainly fairness dictates that we say not all cops are out to kill young black men. Okay, but we have to deal with it because it's a fact. Okay, Philando Castile was in a seatbelt when he was shot, with at least one child present. Okay, so to be speakers of truth, we got to put all that on the table. Guys, what's going on? I mean, as I said, I'm 64. I grew up in Chicago in the 60s and 70s. I never had to worry about being shot. I mean, most I had to worry about was a fist fight and being scuffed up and your clothes ripped and an eye black or something. You know what I'm saying? But you guys, I constantly tell Terry to be careful the neighborhood he's in, be careful who he associates with. how to react to a police officer stopping him, don't try and get out the car too fast, don't reach for your wallet in the glove compartment, those kind of things. And those are the realities that you guys live in. So I just want to shut up now and listen to you guys, two college-educated young black men, talk about what confronts you, not so much nationally, but because you're not worried about what's going on in Washington and Minnesota. I mean, there's a backdrop.
Right.
But I'm talking about what you guys experience, college campus, and here in South Bend. So,
Do you want to say anything? No.
Oh, you go ahead. Start off.
Okay.
If you want to.
Oh, I don't even know where to start.
Where did you want us to
There's
start?
I would say that just recently I've been doing a lot of work around the school to prison pipeline, and obviously there's a lot of institutional issues, policies, issues with administration, but there's one big fact that we kind of gets glossed over, and that's teachers. And I'm not saying that all teachers are bad. I think teachers are great people. In the South Bend School Corporation, I've had wonderful experiences with all my teachers. But recently we had a meeting with the superintendent, Dr. Spells, and we had just a very kind of frank, closed-door conversation about kind of what's going on with the schools. Regina Williams-Preston had brought up how at one meeting, when he had first came and he was talking to teachers, he asked how many teachers are scared of the schools, how many teachers are afraid of the schools. And she said that almost 80% of the teachers raised their hand and said that they were scared. For me, that's a problem, because these are folks who are supposed to be educating the next generation here in South Bend. If you're afraid of your students, how can you possibly educate someone who you're afraid of? How can you love someone that you're afraid of, right? If our students are constantly feeling policed in the schools and unwelcomed, and then they leave the schools and have to go back to poverty, possibly homelessness, lack of food, all of that fuels anger and violence and anxiety. In addition to that, you have a 20% unemployment rate amongst blacks. It's sort of the truth around the country. Black youth unemployment is always much greater than the general population's unemployment and the unemployment of black folks, just generally. So
that number is high in South Bend. I mean, it's like 25% for blacks in South unemployment.
Yeah, but I'm saying just youth. If you think about just youth alone, right? Like 16-year-olds, right? Like 16 to 18. I would imagine that the unemployment rate is even greater than that. Okay. So you don't have a lot of opportunities out here for kids, right? They're not getting any help, in the schools. Their parents are stressed out. Most of the kids who are living in poverty are born to single parent, female-headed households. So it's just a recipe for disaster, And that spills over even into policy, where here in South Bend, it's beginning to look like we're not wanted, just based on the things that the administration is pushing, where the county's sort of headed right now.
And where the money is spent.
And where the money is spent, right? So you have $25 million, possibly up to $25 million, at least 15, I know, right? Which is in their 20-year strategic plan. $25 million is going to move the South Shore track from, I believe, the east side of the building to the west side of the airport.
In addition to double digits for smart streets, bricks and mortar type projects.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So $25 million that are just going to that one project alone, just to reduce the travel time or the commute time to Chicago by 9 or 10 minutes. 9 or 10 minutes. But half of our community is living in poverty.
Well, that sounds like follow the money trail, that if you're reducing it, that's not a substantial amount of time. It sounds like the money is really going to people who perform the work, who in turn are at some point expected to kick back the campaigns.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's what that is.
Right.
9 minutes, I mean,
yeah.
Speed the train up. I mean, whatever, but I mean, that's absurd to do that. So I just wanted to say that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that was kind of where I wanted to start from, but did you have something else maybe you want to add?
No, not really.
Well, we had a conversation. I was talking to him about school and violence, and he shared a story with me. And you don't have to mention your
his name, yeah.
Yeah, his name. But there's a young black man who is from Chicago.
Yeah.
Is attending Manchester.
Yeah.
And he elected, while you came home for the summer.
Yeah.
He elected to stay at school. Why?
Well, he got himself in a jam. Back in Chicago, as we talked about at Manchester, he did his dirt and whatnot. And
At Manchester?
no, he
Okay.
did it
In
in Chicago.
Okay.
He did his dirt. He wanted to be the tough guy. He wanted to run that lifestyle, and he got everything that came with it. They shot at him in his own house. He can't go to the gas station because they'll try to kill him. So he sent his girlfriend to the gas station. They shot at the back of his car from like 75th all the way down to 63rd, chasing him.
Wow.
Yeah, he smashed into a brick wall, and his friend, who was in the passenger seat, he thought that his friend had died, right? So he just runs off and leaves him because he's trying to save his own butt. So when I say like he doesn't want to go back to Chicago, like he does not want to go back.
Well,
to
he really
Chicago. Yeah, I mean he can, but it's not
risked-
advised to.
He risked
Yeah.
that he'll getting shot.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he said he elected to stay at Manchester for the summer and probably for a while until he gets his own place and whatnot. And I mean, I was just thinking about it, I was like, I can't really blame him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, who really wants to live that type of lifestyle 24/7 where you can't walk outside your house without fearing of being shot at, or, you know what I'm saying?
Well, in March of 2016, I was invited by the Cook County Sheriff's Office to attend the Cook County Board of Commissioners there was a hearing on gun violence. At the hearing, they had a lot of high-ranking law enforcement officers, and they had presentations from, and one guy in particular was a professor of the University of Chicago Crime Lab. And one of the things that he said was the young black men are afraid of each other. So that's why they carry guns.
See, I wouldn't say that it's really that we're afraid of each other. Like,
But you're not afraid of Jordan, and Jordan's
No.
not afraid of you. But in the situation with your classmate, because he did his dirt.
right, but they're making it seem like black people are afraid of black people because they're black. It doesn't have anything to do with that they're black. They could be purple, pink, whatever. The only thing that it has to do with is he's afraid of him because we're on opposite sides. That's it.
Okay, opposite sides mean gangs.
Yes.
It's
Okay.
the circumstances and conditions.
Yeah.
basically.
Okay,
That's
okay.
it. There's no black or white that's really involved in that
Okay,
situation.
so you're not a gang member. I mean,
No.
you're my son, so I realize you're not a gang member.
Right.
Okay, but he is. See, so now he chose to be a gang member.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you choose to be a gang member, you know what comes with that, right?
Yeah.
So these are choices.
Yeah.
Okay, so some of this it's choices.
Yeah.
Now, and bad choices have consequences.
Good
and-
choices have good consequences.
Well, but bad choices have bad consequences.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to go back to what Jordan was saying, and I made some notes here. He's talking about, the thing with the schools,
Yeah.
and I think the statistic is 75% of school-age children eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner
Yeah.
at school. St. Joseph County has 53% poverty rate, 40, somewhere like that.
Yeah. So 52% of
Over half of all black people.
over half. No, just generally. So the Alice report shows that over half of the city cannot afford to survive on a household budget.
Including white people?
Yes, including white people. Yes, so for black folks, it's way greater.
Right,
than
right,
that.
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
But that's not a poverty line. That's
Right.
just that kind of disrupts the idea because the poverty line is not adjusted for inflation and it hasn't been adjusted since 1972 or something.
Okay.
So this report just looks at how many folks can afford to pay their bills, feed their families, pay their expenses on just a typical household budget.
Okay.
Yeah. So in this county, you need to make, or at least in the city, you need to make over $12 an hour just to survive here.
Well, let me throw this out because and I follow a lot of the comments and the posts you make. A lot of people when you say that will say, well, there are plenty of jobs.
Oh yeah,
Black people need to get
yeah,
jobs.
of course.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I'm one person. My story is I intentionally work.
okay, and you work also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you two guys
Yeah.
aren't one of that. But okay, why?
Why do
Why?
we work?
Why? Yeah, I know. Why aren't you a certificate? You didn't belong to a gang. You're not parking your Uzi out in the car, and you
Yeah.
don't have any gang tattoos on either one of you. Okay, so that dispels that. And oh my God, you guys are working. And by the way, neither one of you the statistic is